Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 3 versus 3 on Hess, and I'm going to be playing with the 24th US Infantry Division. I wanted to share this replay with you guys today because it was just a fantastic display of the National Guard fighting hard, lots of back and forth, so definitely sit back, relax, get your favourite beverage and enjoy. So let's just quickly have a look at what we're getting down. We've got some snipers heading up ahead, getting into positions that shouldn't be too obvious. We're putting one over here to make sure I can see the right side of the train line. We've got one over here that's going to be just checking down the road in front of me. We've got an M3A1 Bradley that's also going to be advancing up here with its forward deployment to engage any troops that might try and push in. And we've got one on the right as well. Following up on the right, we do have a couple of military police patrol with the M67 recoilless rifles. We've got a TOW 2 that's going to be heading over on that left side with the Stinger and the military police to make sure they are safe against enemy infantry. We've got some more military police with the M67s heading up the centre here with a couple of Stingers and the military police unit there, as well as an M2 Bradley, which is bringing in a fire team which has the Dragon. So National Guard on the backside here, mostly military police at the front to begin with. So just setting up somewhat defensively. Diving hard with this division is kind of difficult to do because you don't have too much forward deployment. So playing it kind of safe back here, my transports managing to bait a few ATGMs along the way, which is always nice to see. Fantastic kill there onto the Gaz with the M67, that's what you want to see. The M67 recoilless can one-shot those transport vehicles and it will take down the infantry inside. So good hit for sure. This one also trying to take out the BTR-80 ahead of us, but just making sure to get all of my M151s back to the spawn as soon as possible so that I can get them refunded and invest into other things instead. So the M67 here actually managing to get some good shots onto the T62 MV at the start, taking that relatively low, removing the cohesion. BMP2 also engaging me, and this is when I realized we already have 2 players units on this right hand side, so I was going to be in for a bit of a tough fight, but I'm going to back myself up with lots of Bradleys. Now my plan was to spread out the Bradleys enough that we could create kill zones with all of the TOW 2 ATGMs and then kill basically anything that tried to come forward. The KDA Schützen, pretty tough nut to crack, not going to do too much damage, but you still got to kill them off eventually, and the best way to do so is with something like an M2 Bradley. Get that auto cannon on target and chip them down over time. Force them back in this case. They're going to be doing a runner. The military police on the right hand side finally take out the Razvedka BMP2. That's going to be using up the majority of their ammo. This military police trying to finish off the BTR-80. Not having too much luck. The trouble with these recoilless, they only have 35% accuracy with the one vet there, so not likely to hit with every shot. But we've got a good line across the front here. Military police are covering the train line. We've got the sniper keeping good eyes for us, and the TOW 2. Now one thing that is nice about this division, of course, is the Strike Eagle, so you're going to be seeing that coming in at the start of the game here, bringing in a Wild Weasel, which is my seed aircraft. And then we have the Strike Eagle. It's coming in with its laser guided bombs. Unfortunately does get hit on the way through, and we don't get the kill on the T-80BV, and my Wild Weasel gets shot down by enemy AA. So not a great sortie for me whatsoever. Now the M3A1 Bradley going to get taken out by the Bastion missile, the BMP3. These BMP3s are pretty nasty for me to deal with. The Bradleys can kill them. You know, the ITOW and the TOW 2 the Bradleys have is sufficient to take those out. And when you get into range, the Bushmaster is going to have a good time. But the main thing is just making sure that you are engaging first. And so that's going to basically require me being in cover when necessary. and then just taking the shot before they do. So currently trading 80 gems so far hasn't really gone in my favor, but BMP2 for M2 Bradley, not too bad, because that was a recon BMP2. These are only 55 points, these M2 Bradleys, the National Guard ones. The main reason they're a bit cheaper is because they're using the ITO as opposed to the TO2. This Bradley trying to fight back against the BMP3s, but here comes the abundance of rocket artillery that we're going to be facing today. Absolutely smashing my infantry to pieces. The sniper goes down, the military police go down, and that's going to open up room for the KDA Schützen to push through, but I have brought up the Apache, and that Apache is here to take on the BMP3s, as well as provide rocket fire onto the KDA Schützen. Also managing to get some 30mm ammo on target as well. Unfortunately, the AH-64 Apache here just missing every single hellfire. Not managing to find a kill onto one of those BMP3s for me. Meanwhile, on the right hand side, the military police do eventually get cleaned up, since they probably run out of ammo on those recoilless rifles. But this Bradley back here still doing a lot of work, killing off plenty of infantry. And this one on the left also managing to get a lot of work done thanks to the fire team here spotting the enemy forces. MiG-23 coming over the top. Did try and take out my Apache, but ended up going down. So, good kill. Another Bradley, though, is gone. And Grim Guy, he's decided to come and give me a hand, because we are being put under pressure by all of that rocket artillery and the two players on this right-hand side. I am going to want to start bringing up some fresh troops, as we are getting whittled down quite a bit. So, air troopers on the way. Here come the air cav. The Hueys riding into battle. Just need to get some infantry in here to help out against the KDA Schützen that are pushing forwards. Just have something that's kind of in the way to make sure that they can't just walk in here unopposed. Unfortunately, Grim's going to lose his Leopard 2A4s, but the Hueys have done their job. They've landed the troops, and they're going to get out. So at least I managed to get those in unscathed, and they are going to be able to open up with those M60s and engage the Motorradwerker and the KDA Schützen that are heading their way. M2 Bradley is still trying to do its best with the ATGM there. The main thing is just making sure I can keep this 25mm autocannon on target, because over time it's going to do plenty of damage, whittle down loads of these infantry forces, and we just got to try and maintain the trades as best as possible. So Grim bringing up the support, definitely going to be helping me out a lot. Apache going to be moving back forwards in order to provide more fire onto these infantry as well, because the Strela 10M3 and the Igla's quite far back, so the Apache's at least going to be able to move into rocket range and get some shots on target. Now, unfortunately, here comes the rocket arty once again. They're going to hit the air cav troopers super hard. My leader's gone down on the right hand side. We're getting absolutely beaten. The M2's died. These air cav troopers also struggling. Really not in a good position, but the Apache should hold them back from any significant push for the time being, and Grim Guy's tanks getting into position here will also help quite a bit. This M2 Bradley still alive on this left hand side. It's done tons of work for us. I'm just taking the opportunity to try and shift over to the right hand side with the Apache and take out the T-62, but the Leopard 2A3 beat me to it. Now, what you might notice is, whilst this is going on, Last is making a fantastic push here. Brought up all of his French infantry. It's going hard into the town here and trying to put a lot of pressure onto our opponents so that they get punished for the amount of resources that they're putting in to this side. And all the while, I've got to just continue to try and trade well. Unfortunately, Su-17 Going to make that hard as it takes out another 2A3. But M1IP is arriving. A64 is still hanging about. So we still have a good chance to get back in here. I've also decided to bring up the National Guard Abrams and also an M1IP leader that will be able to contest this sector. This M1IP catches a HGem into the side armor. Not good. Ministry Police are going to go down to the Mi-24V on the backside as well, so a bit unfortunate. And we're going to be losing a +4 at the moment to our opponents in this one. So M1IP is going to just come back up into the sector and hopefully at least stop the +4 and make it a +2 instead. Just got to be really aware, obviously, of the rocket artillery that I'm going to be up against in this one. So Stinger trying its best to get on target of the Mi-24V. Really need it to hit the mark. Down it goes. Now the Abrams can push in hard. We'll stop the +4, make it only a +2. M1 Abrams hopefully taking out the Monostraki Metis next. We've got the Marder 1A2 Milans throwing Milans at the Strela 10 M3, managing to find a good kill there. I brought up 2 Chaparrals. Grimguy's brought up 3 Rolands. His Rolands were being picked off over time. We're going to get a little bit of a respite here because all of the rocket artillery is going to fall on Last. Last has managed to make good ground into that sector, so we'll be able to contest that soon. We've got to look at trying to remove the command vehicle from the right side of this sector. But I am trying to make sure that I keep the micro up on my M1IP. As you can see, I've kind of transitioned from using a lot of Bradleys to the Abrams instead. And whilst the Bradleys will still be useful in this sort of scenario for dealing with the infantry, because of the investment into all of these BMP3s, I felt it necessary that I kind of switched up to the M1IPs. So artillery's coming in all the way over from the other side of the map. Grimguy really helping us out there. Good kill onto the Eaglet. I brought my own M109 in as well. That's going to help us deal with things like the Sprut. Sprut's a very, very dangerous AT weapon. It's like an AT gun with a decent amount of penetration. If you get into range of it, you're going to have a bad time. M1 Abrams making sure to avoid enemy artillery itself. Just continuing these engagements against the enemy infantry for the time being. So I'm just slowly but surely building up my forces. Any units that get damaged, we're going to try and repair and get back online. We got more Bradleys on the way on the right hand side because I really did need to re-secure this area where the Monostraki are. This is where the leader is most likely, in this corner somewhere. So we've got to try and push on that where possible. Unfortunately, M1IP going to go down as the cluster really does hit the mark well. Got to be also careful of the MiG-27 here, so pop in the smoke on the M1IP. Hoping the Chaparral can do the job. We do manage to take it down thanks to one of the Stingers. So the M2 Bradleys have arrived on the right hand side. We'll be using them again to advance into this sector, but now we don't have a leader to capture it back ourselves, so I've got to be wary of that. I did get a bit unlucky, I felt, with this cluster. It was contained quite nicely and all 4 rockets hit us one after the other.
What are your orders, sir?
Either way, the push begins. Just make sure I don't lose these Bradleys for free. And anytime I see an HGM, we're just going to be hitting it with my M109 that I purchased on the backside here. Because if it's like a 2-man squad, probably not going to need more than one M109 to kill it. So that's kind of the plan. The National Guard fire team can push up with those dragons, provide threat onto enemy vehicles at range. You can see, however, that the Jaeger Aufklärer spotted the SBW-40, so managed to take it out with my M1 Abrams. I am going to lose an M1 IP, but we did manage to shoot down the Su-17, so that's something. I mean, that's at least like one less threat that we got to deal with for our tanks. Rocket artillery being fired away again. Last still doing a really, really good job here. Just needs to get a leader in there. For the Bradleys building up. Grimguy's forces on the right hand side here also building up with us. Setting ourselves up for a nice counterplay here. So I've got a military police leader coming in for the right side of the sector. Got a military police leader going into the left side of the sector as well, so that we can cap this back and they won't be able to tell where the leader is, or if they kill one, I've still got another one in position. Also got the Apache moving around to the right hand side to cover the advance of the M2 Bradleys. Dragons trying to help clean out the Monostrelki. Good hit from the M2 Bradley, does hit the TATBV. Having a real hard time. Can the Leopard land the last shot on target? It can. TATBV goes down, so really good stuff. Now the M2 Bradley is free to move up and engage the Monostrelki here. You can see my artillery has silenced the HGM further back, so the M2s are free to move forwards and clean these out. So things looking pretty good. Good kill on the Ural there as well. M1 IP now moving up. M1 Abrams went back, got repaired. That's now ready to go as well. Hoping that I can get an HGM on target. Managed to stun the T-62. It's going to be retreating away from the M2 Bradley in this case, but the M1 IP and the Apache going to be taking their shots. Hoping to find the side shot. Combination of the Bradley and the Dragon get the job done. Now we're back into this tree line. This tree line, really important for us to control. Stops our opponents from getting their leaders into that position. A good job by Grim coming over and helping me out here. It's really helped us like stabilize the front line, whilst Last has continued to contest this sector. So now we are pushing a +4 against our opponents, which is great. Just about managed to dodge the cluster strike from the Smash. Those Bradleys, oh sorry, Abrams, going to survive to fight another day. And they will do almost immediately. Killing off these Monostrelki Metis will be fantastic. Get rid of just like any pesky HGMs where possible. And if we see any HGMs come towards us, we can always hit it with our artillery as well. The Apache's moved over to the right hand side, just trying to clean out that BTR. Because the M2 Bradley here, on no cohesion, just falling that back. Here comes big old rocket strike. Thankfully, I was already moving. And so the majority of that strike is going to miss the mark. Now it is going to leave my Abrams in some precarious positions. But thankfully, we are close enough to get the 50 cal on target, for example, on the Monostrelki. And that means they're going to not really be able to do much damage with those Metis launchers. The Apache also getting shots on. So I've brought up a bunch of recon now. Having infantry advance onto contacts all very well, but actually having some eyes in the form of those National Guard scouts is going to help us out a lot. So really just trying to set this up nicely in order to make that strong counterplay that I was talking about. Unfortunately, this time around, the rocket artillery does hit the mark, kills one of my Abrams as it's retreating. The other one going to survive though. This M1 IP pushing very, very hard. The reason I felt I could get away with this is just because I wasn't really seeing any armor opposing me. So my M2 Bradleys are just going to be charging up here. The BMP-3 is bailed out. I'm hoping to get on top of the enemy AA here so that I can open up the skies for the use of the Strike Eagles again. So unloading the Fireteam Laws, they will take out the SBW-152 and the BMP-3. My Bradley's really hoping I can take out at least one of these books. Do manage to do so nicely. TOW 2 on the left is going to hit the Strela 10M. So really, really good hits. And the 100mm on this right-hand side is managing to get some good hits in itself. It does have a Bastion missile and managed to use them to take out both of my Bradleys on this main road. But a huge push through, which has done a lot of damage to our opponents here on the right-hand side. And you can see that now I've invested into the Wild Weasel, into more Strike Eagles. Just going to check and see if I can take out the book that was left over on this left-hand side. And what it did do is reveal the Igla here as it shot at the Wild Weasel. I'm not going to let that fire at me too much more. Make sure that goes down. M1IP meanwhile trying to take care of more BMP-3s. Not having much luck killing the second book though. Now on the right, 30mm ripping through the KDA Auftada. We've also got the 50 cal on the recon jeep here doing its work. And I'm just now bringing up the Strike Eagles to hit some easy targets on this right hand side. So just going to clean those up. Allows my recon to continue moving forwards. SU-17 is going to be coming across, but I'm just going to ignore that and I'm going to go for the BMPs there instead. So both the BMP-3s get taken out. And the Wild Weasel making sure that the enemy book cannot get a shot on target. So the recon doing a good job. My air cav troopers following up now as well, actually making a decent amount of ground here with the autocannon support from the Bradley and the Lux A1 as well as the M1IP Abrams now moving up. We are making some good progress. F-15 hanging about in the skies as well. Going to be strafing over on the left hand side just to help Grim in his situation, as the front line here has been extremely sort of dynamic throughout the game. We were pushed in really hard. We managed to push back as a team. Meanwhile, Last managed to get into November and contest that, bringing us back into the game. And now Vector on the left hand side is putting pressure into Grim Guy. But I'm still making progress here. Now that I've switched to the Abrams rather than an abundance of Bradleys, we're starting to make a lot of progress. And then once all of the BMP-3s are dealt with, we can then switch back to Bradleys in order to maintain our advantage. That's kind of the plan moving forwards here. Just got to kill off the last of these BMP-3s. I've got the M1IP Abrams ready to go and push into this sector. Just smoking that because the SU-17 was coming in, really hoping that I could shoot that down. It does manage to still catch out my M1IP there. It was not ready to smoke, but this military police leader has managed to get into the backside of the sector. So we're now pushing the +2. Once again, it's going to be really up to Grim Guy to hold the left-hand side and Last to continue pressure in the center. Because I believe it's mostly this pressure in the center that has allowed us to move up on this right-hand side, because we stopped being targeted so much by the rocket artillery, and that allowed me to build up enough stuff to continue forwards here. And the Smirch coming in again is going to be hitting close to the M1IP, so I'm going to have to rush that forwards up the road just to dodge that. But both of these tanks in a very precarious position. Just got to wait for the rockets to end, and then I can pull back. We can look to try and repair them with a supply vehicle further back, but then the Apache can kind of move forwards in the meantime and cover their retreat. So the military police leader sitting pretty on the right hand side. Last has actually managed to get P4PC into his sector, so we're sitting on a +6 now. Big comeback here on the right hand side. Apache finally hitting the mark. Really, really solid game. Another Apache going to be joining the front. Military police leader here. Shouldn't really be engaging. Fly's now arrived to fix up those tanks. Rockets managed to stun the BMP-3, stop it from killing the Roland, so that was good. Just got to get a Hellfire on target. Down the BMP-3 goes. So now what I'm going to do with these military police is we're going to just hide them behind this building. We're not going to put it inside the building, because that way they can't be shot at. So you can see there, I've got it in a position where none of these can actually see it, and so the Bradley and the Abrams will be able to cover it nicely. We've even got the Apache back here that's able to help out as well. Just smoking off the Bradley there, getting that to retreat. We've got the Abrams moving up to get shots on target here. I do want to get rid of that Speciovedka. But here comes the rocket artillery, here comes the bomber. No escape for the military police leader. But a good kill onto the aircraft at least. In hindsight, I probably could have moved up these military police on the right side of the train line, just to kind of harass towards the spawn roads. But it's definitely focusing hard on that right hand side. In this case, we're just going to be bringing in the Strike Eagles to give a hand. I was hoping to kind of blow up all of those BMP-2s with that Strike Eagle strike, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. Odd Weasel now coming across looking for potentially a kill onto the book, but does get hit by the book instead. Big rocket artillery. Once again, this poor Abrams getting hit very hard. Hadn't repaired entirely just yet. Apache's also going to get hit by enemy AA. I'm going to be a bit careful. Don't want to let the RPG-27 in range of the M1IP, so going to have to fall that back. I'm just going to have to be patient here. I do have the M1IP that I can move into the sector in order to contest it, which is what we're going to look to do. But I can't just like rush it in. We've got to make sure that I have eyes and infantry in position so that I can like maintain these buildings, and then I can have the Abrams more or less sit in there for free. I'm currently still on a +2 thanks to last contesting this sector, but another brutal loss for Grim Guy as a Smersh hits hard. Takes out 2 Leopards, Leopard 2A3, Leopard 2A4, because Grim Guy was so distracted by Vector's push on the left hand side here. Sometimes he was getting caught out with these heavy tanks and losing those for free. That was unfortunate. The engineers have arrived and they are looking to clean out these buildings for me with the M1IP, or just the standard M1 in this case, to cover. We're just going to smoke off that Abrams so it doesn't die to the enemy AT-GEM. We've got artillery coming in immediately for the enemy AT gun. That's going to be able to just reverse towards the M54, so that works out nicely. And these engineers, they're trying to get in range with that flash launcher so that we can clean those out. So military police now arriving. Those will help massively with cohesion. That military police trait, really, really helpful. If you can mix it in without like sacrificing too much in your deck, it's really, really great. So in this case, you can see it grants a suppression regeneration bonus and removes the reservist trait from any nearby units. Now in this case, the National Guard, I don't believe have reservist trait, but they still benefit from that suppression regeneration. So now M2 Bradley's arriving. I've also got some recon. And the idea here is just to get these M2 Bradleys into positions where they can kill off some of this infantry on the left-hand side, whilst the military police and engineers continue to clean out the right. We're starting to build up a decent force that can cover the advance of the M1IP, but I've got to still be careful of enemy aircraft coming in. Still a MiG-27 hanging about, for example. Chaparral does manage to hit the mark on the MiG-27 with the HE bombs, so that's good. This MiG-27 goes for the dive onto the Chaparral, but pays for it. Bradley's here, doing an okay job of cleaning up some of the infantry, but the Metis squad's still proving a bit of a pain. Now the M1IP going to move up aggressively, take on the BMP-3 from short range. Just had to micro that to make sure these two didn't hit me with their HGMs. On the left, we are being contested there, unfortunately. And it looks like my M1IP there going to get hit in the side armor. Big rocket strike again, going to force me to reverse that M1IP. M54's not going anywhere under that rocket strike. Monostrelki going to be finally dealt with. And it's getting close on the points now, so we need to do something about it. It's currently 1,326 to 1,281, an exceptionally close game. Grim Guy's managed to clean out the leader on his side. Last is still trying to continue the pressure in the center, bringing across a bunch of AMX-30s to support my push now as well. Might at least help clean out some of these forces here, like the Sprut and the BMP. Got the Eagle coming in for the strafe on the Monostrelki. Strike Eagle's going for the fire position laser guided bombs onto the enemy AA. Unfortunately, the first one kind of whiffed. Second one, I'm hoping to hit the mark. And we managed to get it. So that's going to be the second book taken care of, which is going to really sort of open up the skies for the Strike Eagles to make almost continuous strikes here. Also, the Apache is going to be pretty free to move forwards, just got to deal with the Streller on the right hand side. Got a couple more recon on the way to make sure that I can see enemy targets, and then we're going to be following it up with all these Bradleys. So as I was mentioning earlier, as soon as the BMP-3s are dealt with, the M2 Bradleys are a really good choice again. I managed to land the Apache just enough, and it managed to survive 2 MiG-23s diving it. And both of those MiG-23s also went down, so really, really successful. We're going to spot the BTR-80 on the back side here, which is good because it means we might be able to full cap this objective once again. But even more BMP-3s actually arriving on the right hand side there. But Apache still free firing, which is great. Poor Monostrelki caught out in the open are going to get decimated. Finally going to be committing the M1IP to capture this objective. So now it's HGM wars, you can see them flying in all directions. I did lose them to Bradley, but we managed to kill a BMP-3. We just need to take out the second BMP-3 here, and then my Bradleys can just annihilate the rest of the infantry left over. Gotta take out that Conkers, of course. Enemy rocket artillery right on target once again. Thankfully, the M1IP actually survives. Now the MiG-27 does come over with its AT missiles. Does get shot down though. So many Rolands here and my chaparrals. It's making it so difficult for them to get any good airstrikes in without losing aircraft. And it's really kind of worked out in the long run, as we've managed to break down all of the units on the right hand side here. The Bradleys pushing through these tree lines very aggressively now, looking to take out BTR-80, looking to kill off the Sprut there. The Abrams manages to do the job. National Guard Abrams hitting the mark. Now the Sprut's going to be taken care of, and that's going to be a full cap sector on the right hand side. More rocket artillery firing away, looking to kill off my MUT CP that moved in there. Also managed to rocket my leader Abrams, but I do have the military police leader ready to substitute for both of those. A very, very brutal engagement here on the right hand side of this map. You can see just the wrecks all the way up here, all the way back from here. We got pushed back to about this position, and now we've managed to push all the way back forwards, and we're holding them at bay. So the M1 Abrams trying to keep these BMP-3s pinned down, allow the HGMs of the Bradleys to hit the mark, the autocannons smashing those Motostraki to pieces. Now the Apache's coming up to take advantage of the lack of AA, and we're just going to continue to do more and more damage here and hold this sector under our control. And if we can hold it for 2 more minutes, then we'll win the game. What a hard-fought battle. Hard-fought battle it's been. Igla unloaded on the right-hand side. Gonna get taken out pretty quickly by the rockets after it misses its first shot. The Apache's just pretty much free-firing on anything and everything. It's absolutely brutal at this point. But enemy aircraft is going to come in and going to try and land the Apache to avoid that from being shot too much. Do you manage to get it down in time? Now just going to try and fly that all the way back. This Apache might have to duck as the MiG-23 comes back, but it actually ends up diving all the way for this one as it flies away. It will cost the life of that MiG-23. As much as this 30mm is pretty strong, we can't sit there and get hit by autocannon fire from BMP-3s, so I am going to have to retreat that. Seed aircraft does come up over top, but unfortunately no radar targets for that seed to hit. So ends up going down. Big kill onto the T-80 going to stop the counter cap here. And this rocket artillery not really going to be hitting all that much, which is good for me to see. More Abrams have arrived, more of the National Guard following up the mainline M1IP Abrams. 30 seconds now left on the clock. Wild Weasel flying overhead, hoping to land a good shot. Manages to hit the Tor. Not going to sit here and let him rocket all my tanks. We're just pushing relentlessly forwards. There is 5 seconds left on the clock, and that's going to be job done on this right-hand side. What a fantastic game. Really nice back and forth there. Good teamwork on both sides. Managed to come out of that with 8,570 kills to 6,630 losses. Unfortunately, last, a lot of his French infantry, although it did extremely well, did die in the end. Last's pressure in the center of the map was absolutely key to the victory in this one. And then Grim Guy supporting me on the right-hand side helped out a lot, honestly. Mainly with the AA, of all things. A lot of his tanks were going down for free, but good job of him holding the left side under pressure from Vector as well. So yeah, overall, really, really fun game. That M2 Bradley there, really great job of smashing to pieces loads of infantry in those initial engagements, and the Apache absolutely killing it in this one, even if early on a lot of those Hellfires were missing. And then later on it really became the Abrams show, and the Strike Eagles did hit a few targets throughout the game, but it was kind of hit and miss whether or not I could make good use of them, because there was quite a lot invested into the AA early on in this one. So until I killed the books, I couldn't really use them, and that's what kind of made me use them less than I probably could have maybe in this game. But yeah, overall, fantastic stuff. Really, really enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did too. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.